back to Across the Gun Counter, guys. I'm your host, Joe Riva, joined by my co-host,
Tyler Weaver.
and we are here, after all the holiday craziness. We brought to you guys 2 episodes in 1 week with Christmas the other week. Our gift to you guys, I'd say. Wouldn't you, Tyler?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and because we gave that gift to you guys, we decided to take a couple weeks off just because the holidays were pretty crazy. For me personally at work, I know everything was crazy on your end as well, Tyler.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what was anything interesting in particular in the shop that, was a holiday craziness project you had to rush to get out, or no?
Not really. I mean, right now, what's really been hanging me up is just shipping times.
The shipping times, yeah.
Yeah, I deal with a couple tool rental companies and things of that nature. And actually, I just got hung up with a bench rest rifle. Bore diameter was actually too tight for any of my indicating rod bushings, so I had to go order like 3 different custom bushings in incremental sizes, a little bit smaller to make sure I had one that will fit by the time they actually ship to me. So it kind of sucks getting a barrel all ready, set up in the lathe, and then it's like, well, the bushing doesn't fit. So there it sits.
Yeah, well, at least you didn't have to rush out to get a project or anything of that nature out, so you weren't like under a time crunch. At least it was only the shipping.
No. And a lot of people around the holidays are pretty understanding.
Yeah, that's really good, and as long as people don't overpay for shipping. I know you and I both ran into
Yeah, we kind of got screwed on that one.
Yeah, I'm not gonna call out any names or anything of that nature, but Tyler and I both we've kind of both been on an AK mag collecting kick a bit lately. I think you'd say
that's fair to say.
And yeah, so we were both kind of hunting down Bakelights, and we paid a lot for shipping on Bakelights, almost $20 for one mag, and I wasn't too happy about it.
But it did come with lollipops.
It did come with lollipops, yes, and the mag did come. I mean, it didn't get destroyed. There really wasn't a lot of packaging in the box, so
it made it here. What do you want?
It did quick time, yeah. So I was happy about that. But on the plus side, for Christmas, the other stuff, the stuff I paid $10 for shipping for mags came in like just the same amount of time. Was those 2 slab side mags? I ordered one for myself for Christmas, and I ordered one for Tyler for Christmas.
And thank you very much, Joey.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. I figured that was with all the help with everything, with all the builds and whatnot, that was a must-have for our AK mag collections. Was we needed to both have some AK slab mags, and I'll tell you,
much appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no problem. And honestly, I think so far that slab magazine looks amazing in that M70.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but onto this week's topic. So this week, what's our topic for this week, Tyler? I know this is one you're pretty excited about.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know if I'm more excited or my wife is more excited, who's joining us today to talk about women in the gun industry.
Women in the gun industry. So this is something that we had been wanting to talk about for a while, and we had mentioned in, I think, almost every single episode we've recorded so far. We talked about something with
unintentionally.
Yeah, unintentionally. It's a topic I think that keeps coming back up, whether it be sales or shooting. Is in the past 2 years, we've just seen a general increase in women in the gun industry, whether they be shooting for themselves, actually trying to get into different jobs in the gun industry. I've seen a lot on Instagram.
Yeah, it's been a noticeable uptick.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
And that's a very positive thing, I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do we want to introduce our guest for today?
Yeah, so our guest we have this week is Rose Weaver.
Hi, guys.
Welcome to the show, Rose.
Thank you, Joey.
You're very welcome. So, Rose, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, I already know who you are, and Tyler knows who you are, but tell our audience a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your background in the gun industry.
Okay, so unfortunately, I am married to Tyler. I met Tyler back in 2008, and we've been dating ever since. We got married in 2016, so it's been probably about 14 years that I've been pretty much introduced to firearms and gotten more familiar with them. So he was kind of
your guy?
The gateway drug.
The gateway drug, okay.
So before you met Tyler, though, did you do anything else with guns beforehand, or were they in the house at all?
I didn't do anything with them. There were rifles in the house. My father hunted growing up as a kid with his father. I knew my brothers had rifles in the cabinet. I knew there was ammo in there, but I never shot myself. I was never familiarized with any kind of firearm.
Okay, so you didn't really learn any of that till Tyler, basically.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. So now, was that something that you were interested to learn? Was it something that you were, I guess, more apprehensive to learn?
I was pretty open about it because I was not familiar with any of it.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Hey, my dad and I are going shooting one day. Are you interested in going?" I was like, I've never done this before. He took me out and I fell in love with it.
Now, what was the first gun you shot?
If I remember correctly, it was his Stag
The
5.56.
Okay, so the Stag 15.
Yep,
Okay, cool. So the AR. Now, what'd you think of that?
I fell in love.
So, which is really funny, and I'm not trying to dive into a more political note here. I'm really not. But when it comes to the AR-15, it's a very simple and easy to use firearm, if you will. And compared to some other firearms like shotguns or big bore rifles, I found that personally more women are attracted to that rifle than something like a shotgun, a 12 gauge, or a hunting rifle. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. The recoil in those is just so minimal. It's very comfortable to shoot, very versatile.
Now, was there anything difficult about it for you to learn to use?
Not that I can remember. I don't know if
You didn't require like 3 years training and like a 12-page course and like all these tests or anything like that. It was pretty much Tyler gave you the rundown on the rifle, and then here you go, and then here's how the sights work, and this is how you operate, and so on and so forth.
No. The main thing was reminding her to turn off the damn red dot.
Oh, turning off
That
the
was
red
the
dot.
hardest part.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really? So you had a red dot on there, and then so you actually made her learn with the irons first.
Well, there was a red dot on there, but every time she would get done with it, she wouldn't turn it off. So then the next
gotcha.
rain trip, we would go out.
Oh, gotcha.
It's like, hey, why is my optic dead? Because it was left on.
Because Rose forgot to turn it off. Damn it, Rose.
Damn it, Rose.
Okay, that's all.
Go here.
So did you shoot anything else then, or just the AR-15 initially?
I'm trying to remember that day. Was that the day I shot your Garand?
Yes, it was.
Oh, wait, you got to shoot a Garand on your first trip out?
Yep,
That's awesome.
sure did.
Yeah,
That's
she moved up pretty quick.
props to you. I was trying to go in for a pause and like almost knocked down my mic, like pause. So, like, 'cause that's awesome. For your first trip out, you got to shoot an M1 Garand. And for those of our listeners, so I'm pretty sure every one of our listeners, or all right, I shouldn't say every one of our listeners, but the majority of our listeners should be familiar with the M1 Garand, and that's one of the most iconic rifles of all time. And that was the U.S. standard infantry rifle of World War II, and basically served with our armed forces up until actually, and did see some combat use in Vietnam. So it's a very popular rifle. It's just very iconic. You've seen it in basically any World War II movie. It's appeared. Just an awesome rifle, and they're just super cool rifles, and just there's a lot of history behind them. And we could do a whole. We will mark my words, Tyler, Rose. We will do a whole episode on the M1 Garand.
Oh, absolutely.
It deserves its own, and Tyler, anything you want to say on the M1 Garand real quick?
Oh. I mean, first and foremost, I probably should have went over it with...
Okay, hold up. Let me tell that story.
Okay, yes. What was your initial impression of the, actually, you know what, Tyler? We don't care about what you have to say about the M1 Garand. What was your initial impression of the M1 Garand?
This is why we only have one mic and Rose is... isn't it?
Get out of here. This is my time to shine.
See, there we go. So, Rose, what was your initial impression of the M1 Garand?
It really wasn't that bad. Recoil-wise, I believe I shot it prone, too.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Is that?
You shot it a few different ways.
Yeah, I shot it a few different ways. You figure that was 14 years ago. I can't remember what I did last week, so...
8 rounds, 30-06. This is one of the few times where it's appropriate to say you loaded it with a clip.
Right? Was it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That popped out at the end.
Yes, the iconic ping, which everyone has this. All right, so real funny note on the M1 Garand. I do World War II reenacting for our listeners who don't know that, which I think we had mentioned in a previous episode. And there was an event we were at over the summer, Jacobsburg Park, and long story short, they were talking about they had like this public demonstration and they get up there, and every year everyone always uses that myth about during World War II a soldier would hold on to an M1 Garand clip, and then when he had 2 shots left he'd throw the clip, and then the German would pop out and try and shoot him, and then the American has 2 rounds left and he gets him. No, that's complete crap. And the reason that is complete crap is because in a one-on-one fight, yes, that may happen, but in combat when there's like 30-40 guys or however many guys, 10 guys, 15 guys, whatever the number is, you're not going to notice that counting the shots. There's so many other things that you're going to be focused on that not necessarily counting the enemy shots. It's just not going to happen. And I called that out at that reenactment, at that public display, and I said that. And I basically said that myth was a joke. Like anyone who keeps saying that, don't believe it.
Yeah, and I mean, with everything going on, can you actually hear that ping with,
I mean,
5, 6 other people firing right next to you.
exactly. You can hear the ping, but like you're not gonna know which guy it came from. Well,
Yeah.
the host demonstrator was not too happy with my sarcasm, and he goes, "Well, that's one opinion." I go, "Yep, that's that it is." And I kind of just walked about and did my thing. But anyways, so M1 Garand ping. What was your thoughts with the ping?
I thought I broke it. I thought I broke the rifle.
And so what did you do then?
I was in complete shock and I started saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And him and his dad are just laughing hysterically. And it was all on video too. I don't think we have that video anymore.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. But yeah, the ping was nice and loud. I like froze because this is my first day out shooting. And I just thought I broke a rifle.
That's nice of you, Tyler.
Yeah, I didn't tell her, but she learned.
No, but and then from now, now you've shot a lot more. You've shot obviously AKs. There was the one video in particular I will say I'm a little jealous of that Tyler had showed me. You shot I forget if it was the HK51 or the HK. It was the HK51, right? The 308 shorty. I might be getting my roller delay nomenclature wrong, and someone I'm sure will.
I can't even remember.
But the
308 short barrel.
Yeah, the short barrel 308 full auto G3, that was friggin' cool.
I want that one day.
Yes.
One day.
Yeah, see, I think you could definitely justify that, guys, for like the business or home defense, especially with everything going on in the world.
Yeah, maybe if we sell a car or two.
I mean, you only need one in my. I mean, right? You work from home, Tyler. I mean, one car for a machine gun. All right, that's a topic for another day. But so Rose, so after your first shots and all that stuff, what made you want to actually get into the gun industry? Because you did work in the gun industry.
At that time, it was more of, hey, this is my new boyfriend. I want to impress him.
Oh, really?
Pretty much, yeah. Because
You needed a job.
What?
You needed a job.
No, not then. I mean, I didn't start working at the gun shop until I was 18, 19.
Oh, really? That young?
Yeah. It was
Say that
about
young, but that's really not that young. That's just I'm just thinking young in terms of guns because I think I got into the industry about 24-ish, something like that.
Yeah, so think about that. She was working at a gun shop and legally couldn't even touch half of them.
That's funny, yeah, because you couldn't do handguns or anything like that. So what was your role in the gun shop you worked at? Were you behind
I was a cashier.
Okay.
In that shop, the women were really, I don't want to say allowed, but it wasn't a thing for women to be behind the gun sales counter. They were cashiers and ammo sales.
Now, was there a reason for that in particular?
Not that I'm aware of, I never really asked.
Interesting.
But I know, like, when the manager was in the range for a reason, I was able to show a few customers handguns behind the counter, but in that time a sales guy would show up and take over the sale. So
Interesting. They wouldn't let them be behind the counter. I wonder if they're still like that now. I'm not going to say any names or anything of that nature.
yeah, no, but that place is not a well-liked place by old employees that I became very close friends with.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, they've told me they don't really go there much anymore. So
gotcha. Personally, all the shops that I know of are, I'm on good terms with everybody, but that's me. So, and I also only worked in, 2 shops, well, 3, because the one shop had a shop on both sides of the border, and I kind of did it both sides there, but that's neither here nor there.
And I was also offered a job. Of course, I don't remember the name of the company. We were at a gun show. Tyler was buying me my 5.56 as a Christmas gift. Of course, I did the background. Disclaimer: I did the background check.
Yep, for your firearm that was, Tyler purchased for you as a gift.
Yep, don't lie for the other guy.
Yep, because that could be up to 10 years in prison.
Yeah. And while we were there, the owner of that booth was a gentleman that came into the gun shop I worked at. So he recognized me and he knew I was no longer there, and he offered me a job to do sales for him.
That's funny.
You know what's funny, Rose? That's the shop Joey used to work at.
No way.
Yep.
Oh, you're just realizing that now?
Yeah, I guess I didn't know that.
That's
Who
funny.
knows? You could have even been at that show.
Yeah, that's very possible. Probably was, because I used to do all the shows.
All right, we're going to have to discuss that and see if the timeline matches up.
Oh, I can tell you it almost 100% does.
I can't even remember the guy's name either, but that doesn't matter either. But yeah, I was actually offered a job at a gun show.
That's funny. But I mean, that's cool though. Was there a reason in particular he offered you the gun, the gun black, the job at the gun show?
Not to toot my own horn, but he knew I was knowledgeable.
That's good. And I think that's one thing people overlook in the industry is too, there's a lot more females who are more knowledgeable with firearms than people let on. And that knowledge is, I don't know, it can be a double-edged sword because, a guy I used to work with a while ago, his wife was very knowledgeable about firearms too, and people would try and, pull ones over on her and she would just straight up school them. And that's to me that's pretty awesome, especially or to me, I'm gonna say something that I find extremely funny and extremely great is when women outshoot guys. And I don't say outshoot like it's a competition because I don't think shooting is a competition necessarily unless you are doing a shooting competition or shooting matches or something like that. I think the end goal is when you're practicing, it should be marksmanship and you should be making sure you're improving your skills. Not necessarily always competing with your friend. I mean, though, hey, a friendly competition isn't a bad thing here and there. It's funny when you see, I've seen it several times with a couple of my friends who are female shooters, and like I'll tell you, it's funny you mentioned the first rifle you shot was the Stag 15. One of my friends, she was a great shot with my AR-15 back when I was in Jersey. The first AR-15 I had, she loved it. Absolutely did great with it. I couldn't hit the broadside of the barn with that AR-15. I don't know if it's just I just don't know if I was just always so familiar with heavier recoiling rifles or things of that nature that having something so light at that time, I was just almost too afraid of. But I don't know, it's weird.
Plus, one thing I've noticed, a lot of women pick up shooting very well because they have the patience for it.
Yes, that's
where a lot of guys kind of dive right in like, oh, I can do this, and
they're too eager.
Yep, too eager.
It's 100% true. I've seen that all the time. Like one of the last times I went shooting with my one friend, I think I mentioned this in another episode too. She had actually, she shot one or two shots. She's like, "Hey Joey, am I doing something wrong?" I'm like, "Yep, give me 1 second. Put your hand here, here, and here," and then bam, 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 hole over, hole on top of hole. She was just hitting right where she was. She was like, "Oh, I'm good, thank you."
Nice.
And it was funny because my two buddies to the right were just like, all right, you gotta square up, and like they were really trying to like, all right, yeah, we can't miss now. So that's always funny to see in my eyes.
Oh yeah, and it's like what was it, Rose? The one machine gun shoot we went to out in Pittsburgh, and me and my buddy were just kind of off talking, and Rose got talking with one of the older gentlemen there, and he had this Ruger #1 rifle, and I saw, he picks it up, he kind of like hands it to her. And me and my buddy stopped talking because we know those things are never chambered in anything small.
Yeah.
So we're like, hold on, let's see how this pans out, And she pulls it up, and what'd that end up being?
454 lot.
458 lot.
Oh,
Yeah, 458 lot. And she just, holds it to her shoulder just like any other rifle, squeezes one off and just, racks the gun, and, that was it. Me and my buddy are just watching like, oh, wow, that was very uneventful.
That's funny.
Expected for it to fly me back there, huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
Nope, she held on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen some people they can't hold on, and Desert Eagle fly, hit them in the face. Not Rose. She's gonna hold on to it.
Yep.
Now, in our previous episodes too, Rose, we did talk a little bit about women in the gun industry. I talked about it from a sales perspective, about how basically anything I can handle, I feel a woman can handle for the most part, i.e. like a Glock 17, like a full-size handgun, something like that. I think most women can handle. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I know from my experience, however, it all depends on the grip.
Okay.
Now, jinx.
I'd say you owe me a Coke or someone owes it, but I don't drink soda anymore, so that doesn't. You can take a Coke. I don't care.
Jinx, poke, you owe me a Coke. I think that's what it used to be.
Yeah, something of that.
Wow, am I showing my age?
Oh man, I don't even want to talk about that because I just had a revelation the other day when I was talking about high school and reunions. The potential. No, stop. All right, let's keep back on topic. Women in the gun industry. Women in the gun industry. Previous experiences, all that good nature. Yeah. So your recommendations, stuff like that. You said the grip. The grip is something that you always focus on.
Right. So even though, just from experience, Tyler and I have pretty much the same size hand.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a more muscular, bigger fingers, and I have the long, lanky fingers. So even though our hands are about the same size, they definitely do not grip handguns the same way.
Okay.
I always struggled with handguns with the types of grips and my trigger finger.
Okay.
It will overhang the trigger, which would always pull my shots to the left.
You have a similar problem that I have when I shoot. I tend to always pull to the left.
And then if I think about it too much and try to adjust my finger so it sits just right on the little pad of your finger, then I find that I'm pulling down, I'm pulling to the right, I can't grip it right. So, yes, a woman can handle, a 45 handgun if the grip is right and she is comfortable shooting it.
Okay, so basically you're saying don't start a woman off on a 45. Start her off on something she's more comfortable with, either like a 9mm or 22. I mean, 22 is we discussed that in the other episode, but it's a good place to start. But what would you recommend to start? Something like a 9mm or a 22? What would be your recommendation?
Either a 9 or I am going to say 45. If they can hold on to that handgun and they feel comfortable with it in their hand and they're not going to let go for it. I actually prefer 45.
You're not the only woman that I've heard actually say that, funny enough. Now, why is that you prefer 45? Or when you say 45, I'm just assuming you're talking about a 1911.
Yeah. Kimber makes some really good ones. The Ultra Carry 2, I believe, is the one.
Or you talk about 45s in general. I was just thinking 45 because of heavy 1911, something like that. Or do you just mean 45s?
I think I just mean 45 in general. I know I've shot a lot of 1911s. I can't remember off the top of my head if I've shot any other 45s. I'm looking at Tyler right now and try to... No, he can't recall either. But I've shot 45s, and the weight of the gun when the magazine's in the gun, it helps weighs it down so the recoil isn't so much.
So basically, having that heavier weight is just easier to mitigate and all that good stuff.
Yes.
So basically, the idea of handing a woman a small handgun that's very lightweight is not the best thing you're saying. That's going to jump around.
Do not hand a novice shooter, not even a woman, a novice shooter, like an LCP.
Oh man, like I know I'm sorry I sounded like I was just gonna like really dumbing that down but it's just like, geez, I really hate that aspect and that thought process of handing a woman an LCP like that. And just being like, or a new shooter, here's the LCP, go. Because I actually do know someone who learned how to shoot on an LCP, and good God, that's
probably a nightmare, and essentially ruined it for them.
Exactly.
You got to go big. Do the, what is it, HK Mark 23 SOCOM or whatever it is.
The crew served handgun.
Yes.
Yeah, going full size 45 I don't think is necessarily a bad idea. I always like to start with 9 personally, because I think having that weight and then having the less recoil behind it, I think is always a little bit better, just to start people off. And then because in my experience, just starting off 22 just never, I don't know, it never had, at least until now, I know there's a lot more reliable 22s, but it never just had the reliability behind it to get anyone into shooting, especially a woman into shooting. Because like I had an old 22 P22 and it just was not cycling right.
Mm-hmm. I remember one of Rose's first ones was a what was it, the Smith & Wesson M&P 1522, and you sold that after what, maybe a year?
Mm-hmm. But hold up, being a new female shooter, I had to deck it out in pink. But now I look at it and I'm like, what was I thinking?
See, now that was an initial appeal to you, and what was the reason you decided to get away from that appeal to it?
The pink?
Yes.
Well, I got sick of pink first off. What I liked about the M&P 22 that I had is it was the AR style, where you can change out your accessories, make it more of what you want, put on ladder rails.
I thought you were talking about the pistols, like the M&P 22 pistols. Oh my God.
Oh, no.
You said the M&P 1522. Wow, I'm thinking two different. Never mind. I understand. All right. Wow. Okay. Brain fart. Two different guns I was thinking of. So I'm like, wow. I'm like, why? Because you changed it. Never mind. Wow. Because it's an AR. It's much easier to change out the grips.
I don't think I've really shot a 22 handgun.
Really?
Yeah. Tyler's shaking his head. No, I don't believe I have. I think I jumped right into 9s and 45s. I've done 38, 357, 44 mag. Oh, I've shot the 50.
Oh, what 50?
The Desert Eagle.
Oh, you shot the Desert Eagle too. What'd you think of the Deagle?
Yep. Oh, that snapped my wrist pretty good, but
a buddy of ours got a Deagle.
Yeah, I was still fairly new to shooting, so, and especially with handguns, and I was just like, yeah, I got this. And now I know what it can really do. So next time I do it, I will be more prepared.
See, the thing is, you were shooting other guns before you had shot that Desert Eagle. My one friend, his fiance or his girlfriend at the time, they went out shooting, and the person they went shooting with handed her a 44 Magnum, I think he told me, and it just scared her away from shooting completely because she wasn't. See, I like how you know exactly. That's the response I want to hear because that's not responsible.
That's not. Yeah, that's not what you do. I have to appreciate the teachers I had, I guess you can say, between Tyler and his father. Shout out to Bob, because I know he's going to be listening. They taught me everything I know about shooting. Yes, Bob. They taught me everything I know about shooting. So if it wasn't for them, I probably would have never shot a handgun. Or any gun, for that matter.
Well, congrats, Tyler, to you and your dad that you guys got Rose into shooting. And now she spreads the word.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, now burns up all my money trying to buy guns.
Hey, listen, there could be worse things. She could be out of the bar drinking, all right?
This is true.
See?
So instead, we have his and hers SKSs.
See, which, again, I that's awesome.
And Glock 43s.
Oh, and Glock
right.
43s.
I forgot about that.
My Tiffany blue that I just fell in love with when I saw it, and I shot it once.
Okay, no. So, little background story. I forget. We were at this gun shop, and I forget what I was doing, but I was off looking for parts or something, talking with the guys that work there. And, all right, I got what I need. Next thing you know, I'm turning around, and the wife's doing paperwork. And I'm like, what are you buying? So, sure enough, she pops open the case, and it's like one of the Tiffany blue Glocks. And she just happened to get her nails done like right before that, so it matched perfectly. I'm like, God damn it.
That was very unintentional, though, I'm telling you.
I mean, there's worse things that your wife could be running off and buying when you're not looking. So I approve of that. I approve of that purchase.
Well, I came home with a Grand Cherokee recently, so.
Now, Tyler, now I know you and I were looking at some AK kits. I think you and I were talking about sequential Russian AK kits potentially.
Yeah, maybe in 2023 we got a Russian AK builds coming up. We'll see.
That would be really
Realize that's 3 days away.
Your point?
Just because you say 2023 doesn't mean you're not talking about 3 days later.
Oh, we're not saying we're buying them in 3 days. We're just saying within that next year we may be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me just check, make sure. What can what organs don't I need to sell for those parts?
Well, you got 2 kidneys. You only need 1.
Yeah, see, the problem is I would never want to give up the one kidney because then the other would be lonely. I mean, tell me I'm wrong.
I get that. I mean, then less drinking.
That's true. That's true. Well.
Anyway, back on topic.
Back on topic here. So Rose, what do you carry now, and how often? I know you haven't shot a whole lot lately, but what do you like to carry, and what do you recommend to new shooters, female shooters?
Well, you just hit a sensitive subject with Tyler. I haven't personally carried. Oh, it's been several years.
Okay.
I let my carry permit lapse, but that's besides the point.
You're always with Tyler, who's always carrying anyways, too, so.
I mean, essentially, yes. But yeah, I agree with him. I should get my carry permit back and, be more prepared.
Yeah, absolutely, because you always, you're responsible for your safety and whatnot, especially if no one else is around, and gun in the hand is better than a cop on the phone.
Exactly. So anyway, besides the point, when I turned 21, I knew I wanted to carry a handgun. I went on my 21st birthday, went right to the courthouse and applied for my carry permit.
That's awesome.
It was later that day that Tyler took me to get my first carry gun. And yeah, it wasn't too long before that. I was trying to figure out what carry gun I wanted. I had reached out it was right on Facebook, to one of the gun pages we were a part of, local gun pages. And I said, hey, I'm turning 21 in like a week or so. I'm looking to get a carry gun. Does anybody have handguns they would be willing to let me try? And sure enough, a few people did respond back and say, hey, you can try this, you can try that, I got this. And we met up at the local gun range and they let me test fire their carry guns.
And what did you ultimately end up going with?
I went with the M&P Shield 9mm.
Nice. And do you still have that gun?
I do not. I sold that.
Oh.
After I fell in love with the Kimber Ultra Carry 2, 1911.
I've heard a couple women like the Kimber, not the Ultra Carry. There was another one of those models. I was talking to someone not a while ago. I forget it was some Kimber. I forget which model it was, but it was one of the pocket carries.
Yeah, they are very nice. They are heavy, but they were very nice, and I was able to hit the target with it. I no longer have that one either. I just kind of got out of handguns. They weren't really my thing. Rifles, precision rifles, are more my thing.
It's funny. I think all three of us are kind of on the same page with that. We're more rifles than handguns.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I loved all my handguns that I had. I think those were really actually the only two I had besides the Glock 43. I did enjoy them. I did carry both of them on me, not at the same time, but out and about. I've used in the waistband holsters, outside the waistband holsters. I even did the conceal carry purse.
See,
And
I'm not a fan of that just because the second they're going to rob you, first thing they grab, your purse.
And Tyler had told me that over and over, which it's not that I didn't disagree with him, but at the time, again, being a new shooter, being new to all of this, fairly new, I should say, because at that point it's been like 3-4 years. I wasn't comfortable carrying on my person and trying to conceal it. With women, it's not as easy to conceal on your person than it is for a gentleman.
More options.
There's more options.
A few years ago.
I know I did I'm going to put the name out there, Undercover. Is that the name of the I don't remember now. Totally butchered that.
Well, we can talk about it later if you figure it out.
Yeah, they make leggings or shorts that you put under your pants, and they have the elastic like padding on the inside that you can carry inside the waistband, and it's more comfortable.
That's nice and that's good. That's so you can always, no matter I guess what outfit, or you can dress for the occasion and stay armed and looking great.
Yeah, they were very comfortable. I actually still have them, just haven't worn them. Well, I found it very hard to carry on my person, so I carried in a purse.
Okay, so it's better than,
like we said,
it's better than not carrying at all.
Right. But what I quickly learned, and at the time, my nieces and nephews were, I think my niece at the time was 5, 6, and we were at another family member's birthday party. I had left my purse unattended with my jacket, and I came across my niece inside my purse looking for gum.
Ooh, that's a heart attack.
So
I kind of felt my heart sink for you.
Yep. Now, luckily, she was not in that pouch because the way the carry purses are set up. But when I went to get it from her so I could get her the gum and she's not digging in it, she ran off with my purse.
Oh, and which was the first thing, and the thing that Tyler had always been, as a bug in your ear, I should say, about was they're going to grab your purse. That nightmare.
Now, yeah, it came really quick. And now she knew what Uncle Tyler did, and he, had guns and stuff. So she was made aware, and we taught my niece and nephew that if they saw it, to let us know. If they wanted to handle one, if they wanted to touch it, look at it, whatever. If anything, I immediately said, get Uncle Tyler.
Yeah, that's smart, I think, is teach kids what they are, not to be afraid of them, because if they're afraid of them and they hide away from them, that's when accidents and problems happen.
Right. So when that happened and I caught her and I grabbed my purse and I grabbed her arm, I looked her dead in the eye and I said, do you know what's in my purse? And you saw it click, and she's like, a gun.
No, so she knew, and she knew right then and there she did wrong.
Yep. I didn't get angry with her. I didn't yell at her. But as soon as she learned what was in my purse, she knew she did wrong, and she's like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And then also me, I learned.
Don't leave it unattended. Yeah.
Don't leave it unattended in your purse.
Makes sense. Now, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to word it, but was the worst aspect of it, the fact that you were like, oh crap, Tyler was right.
Uh, wow, way to take his side.
Oh man, I was just waiting for Tyler's response. Oh, good one, Joey.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just waiting for the response because that's always been like the second you said the purse, I honest to God just thought like, oh man, that's the first thing is, they go for the purse, they go for the purse. That's the worst
Yep.
way. That's the worst spot to carry. And I can just picture you chasing after your niece in this situation, and you're just like,
I think you might have even grabbed her by the ponytail.
and you're just like, crap, I gotta get this, and I can't tell Tyler. like, oh man, I'm sorry. That's just what I'm picturing in my head.
It was one of those things he witnessed it all and just stood there like, I told you.
He's just sitting there, like, just nodding, just the silent, just like, yep, this is that moment.
Yep. But luckily she knew, and after that,
Luckily, everything ended like it should have. I mean, it ended in the best possible scenario.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, I was keeping an eye on my purse, I guess, to a point, because that's how I caught her getting the gum. But
now, what was her parents' reaction to that too, if you don't mind me asking?
they didn't really say.
I mean, it was kind of all just taken care of then.
Yeah, it was pretty isolated. They didn't say much. They knew I took care of it. They knew she learned her lesson, so they weren't too angry about it. Again, my brother grew up with rifles with my dad, gone hunting and stuff like that, so he was more familiar with guns. Also, as he moved out with his wife, it wasn't like a big thing he was into.
Gotcha.
So it just kind of ventured off that way. I know he has his hunting rifles now, but I highly doubt he uses them.
So, one of those things he kind of put away for now. But that's good. You guys kind of handled it. And like I said, the best case scenario, I think, was the outcome. And that was what you always want to hear. When it comes to gun safety, I think something we've mentioned is usually there's a lot of base gun safety rules. And in order for an accident to happen, more than one of those rules have to be broken. That's why you have multiple steps. Basically, always keep it in a safe direction. Know what's behind your target. Don't put your finger on the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Things of that nature. If you have it pointed in a safe direction and it accidentally goes off, guess what? No one's going to get hurt because it was pointed in a safe direction.
And plus with this, her niece had an idea, she knew Rose carried and everything like that. Rose picked a decent firearm, 1911 with a thumb safety and, to carry in a purse.
That she had another, there was another step to it too, because you said there was another pocket. So it was, again, multiple steps before she got to it. So
layers of safety.
So everyone was fine, and that's, again, why we do that. So everyone's safe. That's one of the main things I think we talk about here at Across the Gun Counter is firearm safety. And that's how you do it. Make sure multiple steps, so even if there is a potential thing that could happen, it doesn't happen.
And just to add there, you hear about all these accidental shootings with children in their home, or they come across a firearm at a friend's house or something, and that's the biggest thing. I don't care if you are actively into shooting firearms, if that's your thing or not, but your children should be familiar as to what they are and basic safety. You see what it is and you don't know how to use it, leave it alone and get somebody who knows what they're doing, or if you're a child, get an adult.
I was going to say, I say both of your kids are obviously growing up in a house with firearms, and including your oldest daughter. She's down there in the shop all the time. There are firearms around all the time. She is not touching them. Every time I have ever been over there, she's never like, ooh, gun, let me run over there and play with that, or anything of that nature. The curiosity is...
I mean, if anything, she's jaded to it now. She's like, oh, another gun.
Exactly. And that's how my boss's kids are at work, too. They're pretty much the same way. When you expose kids to that, the curiosity is gone. The fear is gone. Less accidents will happen. There was a recent event in the news where something like that happened. I'm not going to comment on those details, but expose the kids to gun. I'm not saying, take them out to be, the next marksman or anything of that nature, but teach them to respect it. Teach them what the firearm is, what a gun is. don't hide it like it's this evil demon, that we should scare away. And oh, guns shouldn't, guns are no things for kids. No, absolutely not. I was super curious about guns as a kid, and look at me now.
Right. And again, I wasn't brought up actively knowing. I knew what they were, but I knew no safety.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know how to handle them, how to pick them up. Was never told keep your booger hook off the bang switch. Nothing like that until I met Tyler and him and his father took me shooting. That's when they taught me all the basics. And if anything, that is my biggest thing. Again, I don't care if you're not into shooting, but you should know the basics.
See, and that's it. Basic gun safety.
Yeah, and I feel like one of the things we did, especially introducing Rose to firearms, was trying to keep it simple. You have two of us watching, but it's like, if you bombard somebody with all these rules, like don't do this, don't do that, don't ever forget to do that, it gets overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was one of the things that's like, look, here, 2 rules. Keep your finger off the trigger, keep it pointed in a safe direction. We'll kind of watch it from there. And then as she gets more familiar with it, okay, now make sure safety's always off, bolts open, you keep building on it, because I think that's what turns a lot of women away from firearms. It's just the overwhelming responsibility. There's so many things that have to be done correctly.
Mm-hmm. So basically, don't bombard them.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, the judgmental factor. I mean, what do you think about that, Rose? Like going to a range and feeling like people are judging you.
Oh, that's a big one for me because I was so used to going to private land and shooting with you and your father that when we've gone to public ranges, and because I'm still such a novice, I'm not so advanced, I do feel like everybody is watching me to see if I'm going to mess up or if I'm not following proper safety protocols, or just to see if I can handle recoil. Like it's nerve-wracking.
Mm-hmm. See, and that's, we're going to do a whole nother episode too on range anxiety. And I think, Rose, we're going to have you back for that one. So I think that's a perfect thing, because that's an issue I deal with dealing with public ranges too, is just dealing with people watching you. You're going to mess up, stuff of that nature.
I'll make sure I take extra anxiety medicine for that.
Yeah, because that's really, there is something to be said about that with public ranges.
Yeah, they are not always the friendliest places.
They can be, but not always, or sometimes
Right.
very intimidating, and for lack of a better term, sometimes kind of creepy. And I think for a better perspective would be from you. You would say, yeah, I think.
Yeah, and as I've been to a few, I have realized like the jerks that are there, the ones that are judging you, making nasty comments, talking under their breath, they're the ones that make you uncomfortable. But people in the gun industry and shooting that are willing to help you is what makes it all better. And that's why we're all in like this community together. They're willing to help you. They're willing to teach you. And that's what makes it more fun and more comfortable, that you start to warm up. It's the other quote unquote know-it-alls that
The experts.
they stick their nose up at new people because new people don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, and
Those are the ones that nobody likes anyway.
Yeah, so, and they have no friends. But so Rose, Tyler, I think we've been going on for close to an hour now. It's probably gonna be one of our longest episodes.
Wow. You can cut some of that out too.
But before
You haven't had to bleep me yet.
No, that's true. I was gonna say our words almost came back to haunt us there. But
Yep. Fuck.
Ah, damn it. I got the F-bomb over here. I gotta drop shit. So one of my favorite comics. I'll have to send that to you if I didn't. But before we finish off here, Rose. So what would be the biggest piece of advice you can give to a new female shooter who's walking into a gun store to purchase a firearm?
Oh, you got me on that one, Joey.
Okay.
Advice I would give them as they're going in to purchase a firearm?
Going into a firearm, or just, who wants to get into guns and they're curious about guns. What would be the biggest piece of advice you'd give to a new female shooter?
Advice I would give to a new woman shooter going into the store to buy a handgun, rifle, shotgun is don't be overly intimidated by anyone else's comments.
Mm-hmm.
get what you feel comfortable with. You know, if you're going into the store with someone else or even the sales guys and they're saying, oh, this is the gun you want, this is the one you need, this is best for you. They don't know what's best for you. They don't know what you're comfortable with. You put it in your hand, you shoulder it, whatever you do with that firearm, make sure you're comfortable with it. If you're holding it in your hand and you're like, nope, this doesn't feel right, then don't do it, because then you're not going to shoot it. You're not going to like shooting it. It's just going to sit, or you're going to regret the purchase, or it's going to turn you off from shooting it completely. Just do what you're most comfortable with. That's the main thing, is being comfortable with the firearm.
See, that's it. Just get something you're comfortable with. Someone can steer you in the direction, help lead you there, but drink the water that you want to drink.
Absolutely.
So I think that's the best piece of advice you can give any new shooter, let alone a female, which I think says a lot.
Females seem to feel more intimidated in a more men-driven industry.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I definitely see that with female shooters coming in. New female shooters, I should say, coming in. Because after any shooter gets their feet wet, they seem more welcomed into the community in general, especially a female shooter. Then they kind of, it's like, oh, this girl, she's a badass. She shoots. Doesn't matter whether she's young, old. Hey, Granny can shoot. She's badass.
Right.
Enough said.
8-year-olds shoot. There's 8-year-olds out there that shoot better than grown-ass men in their 50s who've been doing it their whole life.
Absolutely, and that says a lot.
And I would like to shake that little girl's hand, because she is a badass little girl.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, that one girl on YouTube. I know exactly who you're talking about.
I've seen a couple different girls.
Oh, maybe I don't know who you're talking about. But
I'm just saying in general, just
younger female shooters.
Yes.
But
it amazes me, and I can only imagine what my two. I'm excited to see what my two girls are going to be like as they get older. Are they going to be more interested and they want to do competition shooting? Or are they going to say, you know what, I get enough of it with Dad's business, I'm good?
Yeah. So that's awesome, though. But I can already tell at least the one is going to be shooting.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Nora in her rainbow dress and cowgirl boots down at the range.
But on that note, I think, guys, wrap it up for the day. Hey, Rose, I want to say thanks for having you on. I know we've been talking about having you on for the show for a long time now. So
well, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to have you back on in the future, I think. And Tyler, I mean, you're still there, right?
Yep, I'm still here. I just got kicked to the side.
No worries. So on that note, guys, I mean, hey, if anyone wants to follow us, they can follow us on over on Instagram at Across the Gun Counter. They can follow Tyler. Where at, Tyler?
At precisionrifleworks.com, and on socials, I'm at Precision Rifle Works on both Instagram and Facebook.
And Rose, do you want people to follow you anywhere or no?
Let's see if people are interested in following me, and I'll go from there. I post a lot of my kids. I don't really post gun stuff, so.
Word. Sounds good. So if anyone, we'll get to that, cross that bridge. If anyone wants to follow me, SitePicture762 on Instagram and on YouTube, where I post the Hunt Showdown stuff. All right, guys, take care. Stay safe. Until next time.
See you guys.
Bye.
Come back to
You see what you have to deal with?
I couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
that's going in at the end.
That's going in at the end.
There you go.